Hello, my name is Joe Archer, and I am the principal of Illinois Lutheran High School and Junior High. And I currently serve as the Senior Administrator for Illinois Lutheran Schools.
Hi, I'm Frank Italiano, lead pastor at Trinity Lutheran Church. Psalm 145 says, "The eyes of all look to you, and you give them their food at the proper time. You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing." Those words from Psalm 145 may be familiar. It wonderfully demonstrates how God gives us what we need, way more than simply daily food. Quite simply, we look to God, and God provides what we need. And those words also make it very clear that God does that at the proper time, a time which He alone knows. Those words really fit now in regard to a recent offer to purchase some farmland that we have received from Will County Forest Preserve. This 200 acres of farmland Trinity and Illinois Lutheran Schools received back in 1998 as part of a Moeller estate. This last fall, Illinois Lutheran School Board had started some conversations about the possibility of putting this land on the market and selling it and using those proceeds to help fund a much-needed upcoming school building project. It was our intent to put on the land on the market and see if we could find anyone that would be willing to buy it. Now, in the last 20-some years, we've attempted to do that before, but for whatever reason, nothing ever really came of it. There was actually an offer on the land back in 08-09, but because of the downturn of the economy, that offer had been rescinded. So, aside from some annual rental income, which has been beneficial, the property itself really has not, it really had a minimal impact on our ministries. And let's be honest, our ministries are not equipped to be land speculators or property managers. And so we need to decide now how we can use this resource to serve our ministries at this time in our history.
To further evidence the timing of this offer, we need to look at the Will County Forest Preserve. The Will County Forest Preserve had not had a bond issue in over a decade. Last fall, a $25 million bond issue was proposed and narrowly passed. This money was to be used for improving trail connections, purchasing an additional 2,000 acres of land, and completing existing projects. Shortly after the bond issue was passed, we approached the Will County Forest Preserve to see if there might be an interest in our property. Originally, our land was not on their list of priorities to consider for purchase. However, soon after we approached them, the land moved up to be one of their top priorities for acquisition. One cannot but marvel at the timing of these things coming together at this time in our ministry. One can certainly see the hand of God open in these events. We thank Him for providing us with this opportunity to consider how best to use His resources.
To fully appreciate the blessings of the Moeller estate, perhaps a little history lesson is in order. In April of 1998, both Trinity Lutheran Church and Illinois Lutheran High School were listed as co-beneficiaries of the Harold and Adeline Moeller estate. Harold and Adeline were members here at Trinity. They loved the Lord, they loved their church and its school, and they wanted to give a lasting gift that would support those ministries. Now, in their will, they had two stipulations. One was that the forested land of their property on the north side of Exchange be first offered to the Will County Forest Preserve for purchase. And then secondly, that the funds in this state be restricted in their use, the principal of the funds, for 5 years. Both of those wishes were carried out right away. In November of 1999, endowment funds were set up for both Trinity Lutheran and then cells, which we call now Illinois Lutheran Schools. Currently, We receive annual distributions based on 5% of the ending balance of the previous year of those funds. So that's roughly about $100,000 each year for each ministry.
In 2003, the 90 acres of wooded land north of Exchange was sold to Will County Forest Preserve for approximately $1 million. The proceeds were split evenly between Trinity and ILS's endowment funds. The acreage sold to the Forest Preserve became known as the Moeller Woods, keeping with the desires of the Moellers. The funds from this sale became the seed money for the Together in Faith campaign, benefiting Illinois Lutheran, Trinity, and Zion. This enabled us to begin to build the new high school wing on the Zion property, the fellowship hall at Trinity, as well as to help with the debt reduction at Zion.
Over the last 20 years, these endowment funds have continued to grow. Other people have remembered their church and their school and their own estate planning. And so over these years, annual distributions have totaled over $1.9 million distributed to each entity, to Trinity and Illinois Lutheran Schools. These Kingdom Growth Funds have enabled us to expand our ministries. Additional called workers, new ministry programs, additional staffing have all been made possible through these blessings from God. Even a loan for introducing one-to-one computing in our schools was made possible with these funds. What a tremendous blessing that was for us right now, given what's going on with our schooling at this time.
So now we are faced with another decision on how best to use these resources which God has placed into our hands. In a joint meeting with Trinity and Illinois Lutheran's executive committees, it was agreed upon to approach the Will County Forest Preserve to see if they were interested in purchasing our land. As a part of the negotiations, we felt it was important to secure an appraisal of our property and to seek the counsel of an attorney in negotiating with the Will County Forest Preserve. Our land was appraised at $950,000, and we were able to hire attorney Dick Kavanaugh, who has experience working with the Will County Forest Preserve. Will County Forest Preserve made an initial offer of $1.2 million. We counteroffered with an offer of $1.4 million. They then counteroffered again with a $1.3 million and finally a $1,340,000 offer. Based on Mr. Kavanaugh's research and experience in working with the Will County Forest Preserve, he feels this offer is reasonable and will not likely be increased. The offer is now being brought to the Trinity voters and the ILS delegates.
Therefore, it is the recommendation of the Trinity Executive Board to the Trinity voters and of the ILS Board of Directors to the ILS delegates to accept the offer of the Will County Forest Preserve of $1.34 million for the Moeller Farmland, and with those funds to be equally distributed between the Trinity and ILS endowment funds. Now, the exact use of that money will be designated by each representative group in the near future. It may be to help fund a coming building campaign, or it may be simply as a safety net during these financially uncertain times. In order to discuss this with everyone, we've made this video, but there will also be time for some question and answers. There will be 2 Q&A sessions through video teleconferencing. That will be on Monday, May 4th, and Thursday, May 7th at 7 p.m. both evenings.
Finally, it is our goal to have a joint meeting of the Trinity voters and the Illinois Lutheran delegates sometime in May. Preferably, this will be in person. But if this is not possible due to social distancing, a final meeting to discuss the motion will be held online, and a vote will be taken by mail-in ballot or by email. It is necessary to have a majority vote by both entities, church and school, to sell this property which is held by the endowments. Finally, if we decide to sell the land or not, we can surely see the hand of God providing and protecting us in this time of so many uncertainties. We pray that He leads us to a God-pleasing decision on how to best use this tremendous resource for the work in His kingdom. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day.